Hello everybody, doing some work on my 15 horsepower Pattin, and I was going to do an update video. If you've seen my previous video, I shimmed the main bearings, and then since those caps are tightened down where they're going to be, I installed the oiler tree. This middle pipe here, I will modify that with the little cotton wiper once I get the rod back on and determine what length to make that, and I'll install a drip oiler up there. And just for looks, I may install an oiler there and over there as well, even though these bearings do have chain oilers. I made shims for the small end and big end of the rod, and I shimmed the small end, but when I was shimming the big end I found something that I wasn't too happy about. This is the connecting rod side of the big end rod bearing, and as you see, it's not really supposed to be a two-piece bearing, but it has made itself so. So unfortunately, even though this bearing is in decent condition, I'm going to have to take out this babbitt, either melt it out or just peel it out, V the brass rod end, and make a fixture to hold it together so it's going to be clamped down just the right place, and then braze that together. Also, as I was taking off the small end of the rod from this crosshead, I noticed, even though I had checked it when I was purchasing the engine, I guess I didn't check it well enough, the crosshead slide had a ton of play, maybe a 1/4 inch or 5/16 of an inch of play up and down, which means these babbitt bearing guides here are worn. And looking at it now outside of the engine, I think it's pretty apparent. The top side, which does not get very much wear, you can see there's still a thick layer of babbitt, but the bottom side is worn all the way down to the cast iron. So these will have to be melted out and re-poured, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be the easiest thing in the world to do, which is a perfect thing for a first-time babbitt pourer. Oh, and here's something cool. As you can see, I'm just working on cleaning up the crosshead slide, the top guides for it. And I noticed there are some tooling marks from the machinery when this was first machined flat. Take a look at these marks. See how they're all longitudinal, all go one way? It was made by a certain type of machine. It's not really popular or not really used anymore. I know what it is, or at least I'm fairly sure I know what it is. Let me know if, leave a comment if you know what it is. It'll be a little contest, and the prize will be bragging rights. Let me know, leave a comment if you know what machine made these long straight marks, and you can feel it. It's almost like feeling a vinyl record. Another side note, I cleaned out the threads in here for the piston rod to thread into. I was going to get a tap to run through there just to be extra thorough, and I measured that thread is 1.5 inches by 9, which does not exist. That is a goofy pitch for that diameter, and almost any diameter actually. There's pretty much nothing that's 9 threads per inch. So a lot of companies did this back in the day, I've heard. They used goofball thread sizes, so if you needed a replacement part you would have to buy it through them. Unfortunately, I can't buy anything through Pattin Brothers anymore, but that's just something to keep in mind when you're restoring old engines like this, or anything old. So I cleaned up the threads by putting a cutting disc on a Dremel, a thin cutting disc, and I just put it in the V of the thread and slowly worked it around and worked it down into the thread, and then I held the wheel at an angle, ran it through again at a different angle, and ran it through again. That actually cleaned up the threads pretty well. I also made a bunch of head studs. I made 8 head studs for the engine. I just bought a length of grade 8 threaded rod from McMaster. Luckily this was a standard size. I cut them to length, and just for an extra little bit of decoration I domed the head of each stud. You can see it there where I domed it. I just domed it by hand with a lathe cutting tool and then a file to finish it off. And the original studs did not have this feature, but I just thought it would dress it up just a little bit. I also received in the mail a little while ago from a very helpful person from Smokestack Forum rings. They are brand new custom made rings from Niagara. The fellow had made them for his 15 horsepower Pattin and then decided not to use these rings. So I have a perfect replacement set, brand new. Thanks a lot, Kirk. I appreciate it. Here's my parts washer that I made up real quick to wash all of these parts. I have a bunch of old waste diesel. It's about 10-year-old diesel fuel that's not quite fuel anymore, but it is still a good solvent. So I put it in this plastic tote. Got some gloves there as well. I put a piece of cardboard on the bottom just to protect the bottom of the plastic container, since it really is not too rigid, and I don't want to see how strong the bottom is by puncturing it. So that about sums it up, everybody. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in watching how to pour connecting rod babbitt or crosshead babbitt, stay tuned. In the next couple months I will be doing that. This might be more of a spring project, because in order to align the crosshead and get everything aligned the way it should be so I pour the babbitt correctly, I will need to install the piston and piston rod in the bore, because you use the piston rod as your straight line that helps you align the crosshead on the slides. This might come a little bit sooner though. I still have to figure out exactly how to do it, so stay tuned. It'll be an educational experience for me and for you. Hopefully it'll be education telling you how to do it and not how not to do it. I don't really feel like doing this more than once. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more, and as always, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, leave me a thumbs up, tell me what you think. Thanks for watching, and come back for more.